this live video. Got this book here, Burn the Boats. Would you burn the boats? That's what we're going to explore today. So I've not actually read this book yet, but I bought it because I want to read it. So it's Burn the Boats, Toss Plan B Overboard and Unleash Your Full Potential. So I know a little bit about this concept because I've actually done it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the concept of burning the boats, it actually comes from, say, mythical or historic theology, whatever, right? The idea is it was like a bunch of men that was going conquering a new land, and they'd arrive by boat, and what they'd actually do, when they got to the shore of this new land, they'd burn the boats as a signal to say there is no going back, you know what I mean? And the idea is then that you're fully committed to whatever you're trying to do. So when we say burn the boats, what we mean is we're not going to say have a plan B, right? And you might think, well, that's a bit crazy, you know, if you just go 2 feet into something. And it is crazy just to go 2 feet into something that you've not thought through. But let's say you've got a well-executed plan, you know, you've really thought it through, you've been through it, and you're really committed and you understand all the risks and everything, and you're just going to go for it, right? Having a plan B, not burning the boats, and having a plan B can actually hold you back, basically. It can be a barrier because subtly you always know you've got an out, right? And even if you burn the boats, you've still got an out. Because let me tell you that nothing's ever that bad, right? So anyway, should you burn the boats? Should you, no plan B, just go in 2 feet into something? Yes and no. I do believe that it's very powerful if you've got the kind of resilience and everything built up inside you and you're really committed to your plan and your ideas to go in and really burn the boats and just go for it, right? 2 feet in. Sometimes yourself 2 feet in, really overcommitted to your plan unintentionally, and sometimes that can be a good thing. So like just by further commitment along the way, you end up, you know, the more committed you get into your goals as you start working on whatever plan it is. Let's say you're starting a new business, you've not intentionally burnt the boats, but the more committed you get, it's almost like being pot committed in a poker hand. You know, when they say you're pot committed, it's that you're at a point where you've invested so much that you can't back down. You might as well go all in, right? And occasionally you might get yourself into this situation. You know, I've done this. I've got myself into it. That's how I built my tech business. I, you know, risked a little, and then risked a little bit more, and then ended up risking more, and then before I knew it, I'd risked a lot, and I just looked at it and I thought, shit, I'm 2 feet in it, I can't get out, right? I must make it work. And as long as you've got the resilience, that can actually help you, so you can then go and push through, and it'll help you, because having a plan B is a barrier. If you have a plan B, the minute things get tough, you're going to take it. So I always think that metaphorically burning the boats is a good thing if you've got a solid plan and you've really thought it through. However, when you're deep into that project and let's say you've burnt the boats or whatever, you've gone 2 feet in, you spent everything you've got, every penny you've got, you give it everything, all your energy, right? It's still not too late to do a U-turn, but what you don't do, what you never do, is give up. You don't U-turn, you pivot. So whenever you see a problem, this is what you do in business. So don't get too wedded on the specifics of the plan and the specific outcome. Have the target, place it on the horizon, and be prepared to pivot based on feedback that you get along your journey. This is what I did when I created my tech business. I felt really exposed. I've spent every penny I've got. I was 2 feet in. I thought, shit, I can't back out now. And I just, rather than giving up, I just had to keep pivoting, tweaking and pivoting. And having that, resilience, not giving up, was what got me through, having the resilience to push through. So like, as you're developing skills, like I've always said, in my videos, you don't want to quit and start again, because it's like compound interest. Every time you quit and start again, you reset your compound interest to zero. What's better? It's always better to pivot, right? Don't give up, don't let go. If you're 2 feet in and you have burnt the boats, pivot rather than giving up. Then you don't reset compound interest to zero. You keep going. That's the way to do it. And if I've just wrote down here on my computer, there's a couple of obviously I've got my own anecdotal experiences through my tech company, but so I've wrote a couple of people, like Richard Branson, Virgin. He burnt the boats. He dropped out of school and just thought, sod it, started his business. And I think even when he started Virgin Atlantic Airlines, he rang up the airline company to get a lease agreement on a plane. They kept knocking him back, and what he did, he ended up leasing a plane for like a month. He had a spare plane lying around, and he was personally liable for that debt. It was a lot of money, and he went and just like sold some tickets to cover it, but it was all at his risk, you know what I mean? And this is what we do. So Richard Branson's another one. Look how rich he is today, you know what I mean? He just dropped out of school and just went for it. He had extreme confidence in his own ability. I think he was even dyslexic at the time, despite all that. Having the confidence to burn the boats and go for it, and, trust in yourself. This is not an easy thing to do, but if you create a plan, you really work everything out, and you look at the worst possible case. And like I always said, when you're assessing a decision, look for an asymmetrical upside, which is the risk worth it, the upside versus the downside. You can have a look at, I've put a link down below on making decisions, where I explain that, how to make a decision using that formula. Another one's, J.K. Rowling, the author, Harry Potter. I don't read Harry Potter, it's not really my cup of tea, but you got to admire how quickly she rose to fame. I think she was like single mother, flipping, living on benefits and stuff, and just went for it, no U-turn. So these are just like some examples, and my own example too with my business is fucking hell, I remember how hard it was, I just felt really exposed. I'd 2 feet in, spent everything, and you're very, there's a lot of sunk costs there, and I know we talk about sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy is when you've sunk a lot of cost into everything and you realise that it's the wrong thing to do. At that point, you should back out, right? But it's very different to burning the boats. Burning the boats on your dreams in your life, going for what you want, is a very different thing, right? That's where you can pivot and keep moving forwards. You're burning the boats on the easy life, committing to the hard life of making this business work. Just done it again with the e-commerce business. I invested all that money up front, knowing that I am confident in the products, and I'm like, right, we'll sell these. We don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to make it work, come what may. I've done this before, been at risk before with businesses, and I always think that the best ideas are the biggest change, the most, the higher the risk, the bigger the payoff, right? And if you were to burn the boats on that, like I said, I've got the book here, Burn the Boats, Matt Higgins. Toss plan B overboard and unleash your full potential. If you were to do that, you might just get the jackpot. But importantly, don't make a crazy decision. Make sure you plan it first. Understand the upsides and the downsides, and yeah, having a plan B can hold you back. Interested to know what you think. There's not really much else I can say about it. Yeah, there is, I'll tell you what, I'll summarise. Burn the boats, yes, but not recklessly. Understand that if you really commit to your, let's say you're going to start a new business or something, if you really commit to it, knowing that if you go 2 feet in without a plan B, you're going to make it work. You're going to commit to yourself that it's going to work. And you planned it all out. Yeah, you don't give up. Rather than giving up, you pivot. You keep pivoting so that you don't reset your compound interest to zero. So if you hit a problem, just get feedback from the market, go that way a little bit, all right, get a bit further, you know. Eventually, you've got to be open to the fact that the eventual end product that you're trying to, or end service that you're trying, you know, the business that you're trying to create may resemble something slightly different than what you first intended. You know, your perfect customer may be different, the size of the opportunity might be different, the product itself might be different, but the general vision and idea is still solid. You're just prepared to pivot. Don't be too wedded to every single bit of detail. Set a goal, stick it on the horizon, start working towards it, pivot along the way. All right, that is how you can burn the boats, not just blindly going, like going all in and blind, you know, blind hands like that, like in poker. I wouldn't do that. There you go, right? Plan it, execute, don't have a plan B. Be prepared to pivot, but never give up. Never give up. So if you give up, you reset compound interest to zero again. You want to retain the skills in business over time so that you can reuse them and reuse them. Even if you have to pivot in business, you're going to reuse them same skills. There's a video that I did called the 7 mental models for success. They're universal skills that I recommend that you develop. It's on my channel in the video section, quite a new video, just like a couple of weeks ago I recorded it. Go and have a look at that. I might put it in the link down below. The 7 mental models for success. They're generic mental models that you can reuse. Reusable skills, no matter what you're going into. And that is compound interest. That's building your skills that you can keep moving forward, even if you start new businesses, if you pivot. So you're definitely burning the boats on learning them. All right? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Come on, you lot, like the video and subscribe, yeah? All right. See you all next time. Oh, God.